fucking Lord, what am I doing? All right, we're moving on to the submarine fiasco. Let's go.
Now that we can confirm that the 5 passengers aboard the Titan expedition mission to the ocean's floor to witness the wreckage of the Titanic have, in fact, been confirmed dead.
It is, in fact, a sad day. I'm Lana Zach. It's good to be with you as we have been following ever since the Coast Guard initially tweeted out that some debris had been found. We now know from the Coast Guard that the debris that they found is consistent with a catastrophic implosion.
The vessel was carrying 5 people. As we've been reporting, it disappeared on Sunday during a dive to the Titanic wreckage. Officials say the initial fragments found include a landing frame, a rear cover from the submersible, among other pieces of this vessel.
In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
There at that press conference was Associated Press reporter Michael Casey. He joins us now. Michael, talk to us about what it was like. Did you have any suspicion that this is what they would, or had any confirmation priorly that this is what the Coast Guard would confirm at this press conference? And what else besides what we've been discussing did you learn about when and how and why this happened?
Well, the first part was, we had some inkling because, as we were getting ready for the press conference, the family had issued a statement basically saying that those on board had been lost, and that obviously came after the earlier statement about some debris being found. And so we kind of went into the press conference assuming the worst, I guess, if you will. And in terms of, they confirmed, all they could really say is that they believe that the debris was consistent with an implosion, but there's still a lot of questions to be answered including like when, how, those kind of things they weren't able to answer.
Yeah. Michael, have you been able to learn anything more from your sources about what happens next in terms of putting together this detailed timeline that the Coast Guard referred to, trying to answer some of those questions that you raised?
Well, I mean, it sounds like they're going to be on site for a while. I mean, they made it clear that it was a very difficult, kind of harsh environment, and they didn't say. They didn't say how long it would take, but I think
there is nothing funnier than the fact that the U.S. Navy heard the implosion days prior. But because they have a top secret, acoustics device, and they kind of didn't know what it was, they just did not fucking reveal that. And they let every motherfucker. They did tell the Coast Guard they like the drama. They were like, listen, I kind of dig the drama. Okay. We like what's going on. We're big fans of the Titanic. Okay. We're just going to let it we're going to let it go. We're not going to say nothing. We're just going to let it go.
Well, I've been down there many times. I know the wreck site very well, as does my friend Bob Ballard. I've made 33 dives. I actually calculated that I've spent more time on the ship than the captain did back in the day. And of course, as a submersible designer myself, I designed and built a sub to go to the deepest place in the ocean, 3 times deeper than Titanic. So I understand.
It's true. He's so fucking sick, dude. I mean, come on, brother. Come the fuck on. This motherfucker literally flexing. He's in the pocket. You know what I mean? This is his shit. He's basically saying skill issue. James Cameron, 33, nil, stay winning, get wrecked, rich bozos.
The engineering problems associated with building this type of vehicle and all the safety protocols that you have to go through. And I think that what Bob said, because I was watching, is absolutely critical for people to really get the take-home message from this, from our effort here, is deep submergence diving is a mature art. From the early 60s, where there were, a few accidents, nobody was killed in the deep submergence, until now, is more time than between Kitty Hawk and the flight of the first 747. So if we haven't improved over that period of time, we have improved drastically over that period of time, and the certification protocols that all other deep submergence vehicles, except this one, that carry passengers, especially paying passengers, all over the world in tropical waters, deep coral reefs, other wreck sites, and so on.
Bro, he just did the fucking dabbing on the corpse meme, dude. He's out here doing like smoking on the dead pack. No, Murad already admitted he was wrong. Did you see that OceanGate got $450K in PPP loans forgiven? Thank God.
The safety record is the gold standard. Absolutely. Not only no fatalities, but no major incidents requiring all of these assets to converge to a site. Of course, that's the nightmare that we've all lived with, since all of us entered this field of deep exploration. We live with it in the back of our minds. But because implosion, as Bob described it, such a violent event, is first and foremost in our minds. The pressure boundary, which is what they call the hull of the sub, that the people go inside, is obviously first and foremost in our minds as engineers. And we spend so much time and energy on that. And we use all the computerized tools available today, finite element analysis. We worked on our sphere for our deep vehicle that went to the Challenger Deep for over 3 years, just in the computer, before we even made the thing. And then, of course, we pressure tested it over and over and over, and so on. So, this is a mature art, and many people in the community were very concerned about this sub, and a number of the top players in the deep submergence engineering community even wrote letters to the company saying that what they were doing was too experimental to carry passengers and that needed to be certified and so on. So I'm struck by...
Dude,
Yo, I watched that press conference when I came home at 5 in the morning.
You came home at 5?
Yeah.
You're a fucking demon.
I know.
I just sent a text message to the group chat to talk about our plans for today before sumo. Yeah, Willie Ichiban has been enjoying this trip a little too much. I agree.
Willie Ichiban. Number one.
Biru Ichiban. Biru. Dude, James Cameron is talking for the past 3 minutes about how sick his submarine that he built has been, basically flexing on the dead. He's like, I went down 33 times, nothing happened, you fucking idiots. Like,
James submerges. It's what he
does. He said, I went down to the
to
the Mariana Trench, obviously. He's like, that's 3 times deeper than where they fucking went to.
That's not even the story, though.
What?
The story is that my man is wearing like a motocross jersey on national news.
He's living his fucking life. He's living his life.
The most horrible.
He's so sick. He's so sick.
Tragedies.
He basically said we all told them they were gonna fucking die. Losers get wrecked. I've never seen somebody just so openly fucking shit on a bunch of like dead billionaires and millionaires. Very aggressive. Yeah. Did you know that the fucking Navy literally knew about it too? They heard the implosion with their fucking listening devices.
Cameron, another
like when it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So days ago.
Well, I mean, I can hear someone die, and I don't know that they're dead till I see it. You know what I mean? Can I get some coffee?
This one's empty. I finished it. There's another one though, in the fridge.
Listen, All I'm going to say is this.
What?
This is what I was thinking about last night.
What were you thinking about last night?
There is nothing more terrible than being in a sub, crisscross applesauce, no power, 5 people, 4 of which are billionaires, the worst people on the planet. And you're trapped there, and for 5 days, you're shitting on yourself, you're pissing on
No, they
yourself.
died instantly.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, so it's like a better way to go.
The alternative is
Repeatedly warned about ice ahead of his ship, and yet he steamed at full speed into an ice field on a moonless night, and many people died as a result. And for a very similar tragedy where warnings went unheeded to take place at the same exact site, with all the diving that's going on all around the world, I think it's just astonishing. It's really quite surreal. And of course, P.H. Nargeolet, the French legendary submersible dive pilot, a friend of mine. It's a very small community. I've known P.H. for 25 years. For him to have died tragically in this way is almost impossible for me to process.
Yes, I know James Cameron missed 9/11 when he was on a Titanic dive. I know. I've talked about this before. Wait, hold on. Let's continue from the rest of the video. Whoa, what the fuck? This looks fake.
And the certification protocols that all other deep submergence vehicles, except this one, that carry passengers, especially paying passengers, all over the world in tropical waters, deep coral reefs, other wreck sites, and so on. The safety record is the gold standard. Absolutely. Not only no fatalities, but no major incidents requiring all of these assets to converge to a site. Of course, that's the nightmare that we've all lived with, since all of us entered this field of deep exploration. We live with it in the back of our minds. But because implosion, as Bob described it, such a violent event, is first and foremost in our minds. The pressure boundary, which is what they call the hull of the sub, that the people go inside, is obviously first and foremost in our minds as engineers. And we spend so much time and energy on that. And we use all the computerized tools available today, finite element analysis. We worked on our sphere for our deep vehicle that went to the Challenger Deep for over 3 years, just in the computer, before we even made the thing. And then, of course, we pressure tested it over and over and over, and so on. So, this is a mature art, and many people in the community were very concerned about this sub. And a number of the top players in the deep submergence engineering community even wrote letters to the company saying that what they were doing was too experimental to carry passengers and that needed to be certified and so on. So I'm struck by...
Which is odd because they flexed about how they avoided certifications like you avoid the top of the hour ad break. Like at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, and it's basically a certification of whether or not you're subscribed to the broadcast. Because if you see an ad,
I don't remember doing this.
You're not subscribed. If you don't see an ad, then you are subscribed, right? MB Chaos, thank you for the 5 Get the Subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. That's another separate certification you can get by getting gifted a sub. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. But basically, they had, we looked at their website where they were like openly fucking, oh, Sakura Gore, thank you for the 25 gifted subs. They were basically flexing that they fucking were not getting classified appropriately. Also, they lied. You'll appreciate this, Murat. And Austin, you will appreciate it as well. Ez Reed's Entropy, thank you for the 5 tier 1. Keith, thank you for the 5
was
tier
Boeing
1.
responsible for this one?
Boeing, UW, and NASA denied design partnerships with OceanGate. So they also apparently were lying and saying we used the expertise of Boeing. Maybe that's why Murat was defending it so hard. What the fuck?
Dude, James Cameron made the exact same argument I did.
What? about certification, about what? No, he literally just said that these guys weren't certified. Yes.
That's what I said.
No, James Cameron is saying how stupid it is. James Cameron is agreeing with me and not you in this argument. What are you talking about? He literally said how positively idiotic it was to engage in such a dangerous endeavor when alternatives exist, alternatives that he has literally developed with his own hands, which is almost verbatim what I told you yesterday. Dude, literally, right there.
You don't cut corners when it comes to safety. Let's just say that.
I agree.
You don't cut corners, bro. Nobody cuts corners. And these people, regardless of the Xbox controller, they shouldn't have gotten on that submarine.
He literally compared the negligence of the Titan person to the Titanic captain. He said, that's how fucking stupid it was.
The similarity of the Titanic disaster itself, where the captain was repeatedly warned about ice ahead of his ship, and yet he steamed at full speed into an ice field on a moonless night.
I'm sorry.
And many people died as a result. And for a very similar tragedy where warnings went unheeded to take place at the same exact site, with all the diving that's going on all around the world, I think it's just astonishing. It's really quite surreal. And of course, P.H. Nargeolet, the French legendary submersible dive pilot, a friend of mine. You know, it's a very small community. I've known P.H. for 25 years. For him to have died tragically in this way is almost impossible for me to process.
It is certainly haunting to consider that comparison to the Titanic and what happened to
the Titanic, and this is what happened, right? Yeah. Nobody saw the Titanic coming at the time.
It's just also funny that it has already it has failed in every other way leading up to this moment in multiple different dives, and they didn't even fix any of those other issues.
That's what I'm saying.
Including the dive where they got fucking lost for 5 hours, and they could not be they couldn't find them.
But how did they convince these people to get on this fucking?
Once that happens,
how did they convince people to do it?
Wait, what do you mean? People are fucking psychotically obsessed with the Titanic, apparently.
I mean, I went down a Titanic rabbit hole, but I never would go down in the ocean.
I don't even understand why people are so obsessed with Titanic. I actually genuinely don't get it. It's a decent movie, but what the fuck is the point? You're literally looking at the dead corpse of a goddamn ship.
I mean,
it makes no sense to me.
It's very interesting to me, but
it makes no fucking sense to me at all.
the 5 people on board this submersible vehicle. James, I want to ask you though, since you've been down on these dive missions before, we talked about the safety risks. We've reported on the fact that the people on board signed waivers. They knew that this was dangerous, and that there weren't very many other vehicles that could come get them out if something goes wrong. How aware were you of those concerns and those risks before you went down? And is there anything that should be done when it comes to safety in the future?
Look, it's comparing apples and oranges here. I went with a very proven system when I dove at Titanic with the Russian submersibles. They used very, very well understood design methodologies, and they had an excellent operating record when I dove with them, and they continued to have an excellent operating record, flawless operating record throughout their entire career. I think they're now retired, but I always had great confidence. Now, having said that, I always had confidence in the sub. The Titanic wreck site is a very hostile place. It's a dangerous site to dive. If you think of a typical research dive, you go down and you're really just operating over a bottom. You may be looking for organisms. You may be looking at geology. Hydrothermal vent sites can be a bit dangerous as well. But Titanic, you've got this 8-story, 10-story high structure with overhanging metal structures. It's a twisted mess. You can get entangled. And entanglement was always a concern of ours, but we dove with a 2-sub system. We always felt confident that if one of the subs got ensnared, you'd still have communication, you'd still have life support, you'd still have power, you'd have another sub there that could help you manage the problem. we always felt that we were on pretty safe ground. This
Okay. Here's another component that I mentioned already, but let me describe it to you. This is from the Washington Post. A top secret U.S. Navy acoustic detection system designed to spot enemy submarines first heard the Titan sub implosion hours after the submersible began its mission, officials involved in the search said. The Navy began listening for the Titan almost as soon as the sub lost communications, according to a U.S. defense official. I love that every instrument of war in America always has a "they were on our radar" moment. Like, this is the Navy's, "oh, they were on our radar" moment. You know what I mean? You know how, like, after every fucking mass shooting, the FBI is like, "oh, this guy was on our radar. We didn't do anything about it." Like,
well, what are they supposed to do?
what do you mean? It's over. Once the implosion is detected with actual radar, you immediately inform every authority possible. You release a press statement and you tell people these guys are dead.
But they didn't know for sure, right?
No. The Navy began listening for the Titan almost as soon as the sub lost communications, according to the U.S. defense official. Shortly after its disappearance, the U.S. system detected what it suspected was the sound of an implosion near the debris site discovered Thursday and reported its findings to the commander on site, U.S. defense officials said.
Are they sure that's what happened?
No, the real reason is because it's fucking top. The acoustics devices that they were
that's why.
no, the acoustic devices they were using is like a secret.
It could have been, oh.
So they just like fucking didn't.
They just didn't want to tell.
But then why did they release it now? Which is what I don't understand.
Makes sense. I mean, I think there's nothing better than the U.S. military.
They didn't inform them right away, but it was kept under wraps to the press until they had the wreckage to confirm the sound the array picked up was for sure an explosion. I guess it also reveals the confines or the limitations of the acoustic device, so maybe that's why. I don't know. I feel like they're bullshitting. Didn't they say the noises were Morse code?
Austin has a baby brain. No, you have a fucking baby brain for not knowing how to take a fucking joke, you dumb shit.
Get his ass. Get his fucking
What a
ass.
dumbass.
You fucking tell
I'm getting under your skin, baby brain.
Get their ass, dude. All right, let's listen to James Cameron while I go pee real quick.
sub had no backup. It didn't have a lot of backup systems, from what I understand, and it was predicated on what I think of as a fundamentally flawed design principle, which is a carbon fiber hull, which when I first heard about a move toward composite hulls, and this was many years ago, even when I was designing my sub, there was another sub that was sort of in competition with us to get to the Challenger Deep that was operated by a guy named Chris Welsh for Richard Branson, and they had a composite hull, and I told those guys, I said somebody's going to get killed in that sub or in a sub like it, and the DNA of the Ocean Gate sub was in that sub at the time. You know, 2 hemispherical end caps and a carbon fiber cylinder in the center, and I never believed in that, because the way it fails is it delaminates, because you have to have a hull, a pressure hull made out of a contiguous material like steel or like titanium, you know, which is the proven standard, or like acrylic. You know, you know, I have a small equity stake in I think one of the best submersible companies in the world, Triton Submersibles, and they use acrylic for their hulls. But once again, it's a contiguous material, so you can do computer modeling to see how it'll behave. But, you know, this Ocean Gate sub had sensors on the inside of the hull to give them a warning when it was starting to crack. And I think if that's your idea of safety, then you're doing it wrong. You don't, and they probably had warning that their hull was starting to delaminate and starting to crack. Because as Bob pointed out, it's our belief, we understand from inside the community, that they had dropped their ascent weights and they were coming up trying to manage an emergency.
And to your point, a warning only goes so far when you have the ability to get back to the surface, or there's a backup vehicle there to come help you out of a bad situation. James Cameron, thank you so much for your time. I would like to bring Bob Ballard back in while we still have him on the line here, because Bob, I understand the wreckage of the Titanic here, it's not going to last forever. What more can we learn, should we learn about that shipwreck, and what can we do as we continue to explore this space in the ocean?
I'm serious.
Well, the Titanic's
it is
bow
too
went
heavy.
deep in. The anchor you were
I know
just
we can
showing
grab it, right?
is almost touching the set.
Do you guys want to see a digital?
Look up, was it Glomar?
Were they trying to do that?
They're trying to do something similar to it.
I'm trying to take the Titanic and put it in a museum.
No.
Do you want to see the digital?
Oh, it's cursed.
Yeah, it's cursed, Austin. That's what it is.
Where is it? Oh, here. The Exertonox has a tweet. A digital simulation of the Ocean Gate submarine imploding due to deep sea pressures has been released on TikTok. The instant collapse of the pressure of the hull would immediately heat in the air and the sub around the surface and the sun's temperature as a wall of metal and seawater smashed one end of the boat to the other, all in around 30 milliseconds.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't know about the 30 milliseconds or the heat of the sun, but yeah, explosions are. Think about it this way. Right now, we're standing at sea level, right? It's 14 point. Is it 14 point something psi around you? That's atmospheric pressure.
Okay.
Down there, it's like a couple of thousand.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it? But up there, what about in the sky?
So you have
It's thinner.
Yeah, the atmospheric pressure goes lower the higher you go, but don't forget you're surrounded by air right now. Think that you're in like a cylinder, right? And you're just trying to hold like air up. It's like not that heavy, right? There's just not.
Person, as an aerospace engineer, this is extremely my shit.
And now imagine I just start putting like gallons of water on top of your hand, and you're trying to keep it up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here. Similar to this, but like way
But
more
that's
severe.
14 psi.
Yeah, that was way more severe.
So
what is it? Does
you're
it turn
holding
into
up
like
water,
a fucking
right? Imagine they put a foot of water on top of it. Imagine they put 20,000 feet of water. And that's just all on you.
That would suck.
Yeah, correct. So basically you have a pressure vessel, right? The reason it's circular is because the force gets distributed evenly.
Why do they show? Why do they do this?
That's just testing the failure modes, right? They either have a valve or something. Right about 9.
Oh. So the
Yeah.
remaining part is still safe. That's
I don't know what this thing is, but that's what I would assume it is.
Well, there it was. Right about 9 minutes.
But again, the pressures that we're talking about are insane underwater. It's like, you know how when we talk about spaceflight, it's like we're doing something that's really difficult and we're learning a lot about it?
Here's Mythbusters. This is the effect on a human-shaped dummy made of pig parts with bones, muscle, fat, skin, midsection of guts. At 135 psi, in comparison, the depths of the Titanic would be around an implosion of 5,600 to 6,000 psi.
Oh, that's just crushing it. So that's the other thing. People were like talking about how it was on the outside. You're not surviving that. The only time it would matter is once you actually got to the surface.
That's a lot.
But then I assume you have a ship that's going to come get you anyway, right? Looking good.
Damn, dude. This is some fucking real Billy Ichiban hours.
Billy Ichiban.
Is it Billy or Willie?
Well, depends on the day. Murat, I don't buy any of this. I'm gonna tell you why.
Neither do I, dude.
I'm gonna tell you why.
The Earth is flat, and so is the ocean.
Well, how do fish live down there, Murat? They're not made of metal.
You saw the isopods,
Dude, true. That's what I'm saying, dude.
Fish don't live down there, Will.
I've seen tiny little goblin sharks, and they're not made of metal, Murat.
Yeah,
They're made of fish.
True, dude.
You got me on that one.
Didn't suffer at least. Literally, their molecular structure was changed. Not a single part of their body was left. You think that's what happened?
Yeah, wow.
They turned into fucking mist. Well, then how did they fucking find the wreckage? I guess it is like a crumpled Coke can.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so gnarly.
Would you go that way, or would you want to run out of oxygen?
Well,
running out of oxygen is kind of great.
A couple of things that caught my attention when James Cameron was talking was one, they said they had sensors, so they might have seen it coming. That would have been pretty scary. And two, he said that they released their counterweights to do an emergency ascension.
Oh,
so they were scared.
Maybe the glass cracked. Oh.
That's so. Oh god, that gave me chills.
Dude, do you know the story about the first submarines?
No.
Michael Reeves told me about it. He told me that it was the Confederacy. They made a submarine out of wood.
I assumed it didn't work.
It was human crank powered, and they put a Looney Tunes amount of TNT on the end of a stick. And they submarined it up to a Union boat, and then they all exploded. Yeah. They all died.
It was called the Turtle.
Yeah, pull that up.
But
dude.
The Ottomans had something like that too.
One of the keys to understanding what happened is to understand
how does that look
how
safer than the submersible that they went down to the Titanic?
Hunley was state of the art. As a submersible vessel.
Oh my god.
This is way bigger than what I thought you were talking about.
That would have been so miserable. There's this stick.
Yeah, the design of the Hunley literally was unique.
There's the bomb.
It's extremely sleek. Very
they didn't have torpedoes,
and
so they had to just have a bomb on a stick.
They turned themselves into fucking torpedoes.
Yeah.
The fishboat, as it was called, used fins or diving planes to submerge and surface. When they were pointed down, oncoming water drove the sub deeper.
Yeah.
When pointed up, water flowing beneath lifted it toward the surface.
The young kid didn't even want to go. That's the saddest part. No. Yeah. Apparently, his aunt said that he didn't want to go. He was terrified before the trip to the Titanic, but went to please his dad because the trip fell over Father's Day weekend. He didn't want to do it.
Billionaires are the fucking worst, dude.
Yeah.
Something truly tragic happened. What's important here is to learn from it.
Yeah, don't fucking.
What's the lesson? If you're a billionaire, make sure your deep ocean submersible gets certified before you go $1 million sightseeing to the Titanic.
Correct.
What the fuck is the lesson, Murat?
I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I was planning on doing. I was like, oh shit, man. I'm a big fan of submersibles.
Wow.
Jesus.
Are we going anywhere?
Yeah, we're getting our nails.
This is like a sauna in here.
I know, it's too hot.
Did you tell them what we're doing tonight, too?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
At 3 p.m. our time, we are going to embark upon a journey that is sumo wrestling. We're going to learn everything we need to know about sumo. We are going to watch sumo wrestlers do a performance for us. We're going to eat the slop that they eat.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we're gonna hang out with the sumo. Possibly even they would let us fight them, is what they said.
Yeah.
Which would be sick.
That's awesome.
Or each other.
The slop definitely isn't fitting in our macros.
Yeah.
I wonder if MyFitnessPal has slop on it.
And then after we're done with that.
Yep.
After we're done with that, we are gonna go to the Muscle Mommy Bar as
That's
we
right.
will next channel. We're finally doing
and
it.
I'm going Billy Ichiban, Top G Japan. I'm taking Emma, March's girlfriend, and I am basically employing her at the Muscle Girl bar.
We're gonna bring our own. We imported our own Muscle Girl to America, who also does happen to be half Japanese. And we're gonna hang out with Muscle Mommies.
She's actually 69% Japanese on the dice.
That is true. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, That's right. Name one muscle mommy. Fuck you, me. I've had muscle mommies on this fucking broadcast numerous times. How
You had one recently.
Yeah, Mork Pie could be technically
Mork Pie is a
considered
muscle mommy.
Yeah, exactly.
So earlier this
Peach
week,
is a muscle mommy.
Yeah, Peach is a muscle mommy. Jenna Lynn Meowry
is a muscle mommy.
It's like a Gabe Newell's Deepwater Submersible has gone to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, or also the Titanic Ocean. Dude killed them with his hubris. Dude killed them doing exactly what fucking wealthy people have done time and time again, which is to try to fucking cut corners and commercialize this like otherwise research vessel, like this trip that people do for research, and that was the point of failure. This is what happens. I've had lean beef patty on too. You're right. Multiple muscle mommies have been on the broadcast.
Sediments, so it went far in. And what we've learned about the deep sea is as soon as you go in a couple centimeters, it's anoxic. So when we were down, we could literally scrape away the mud and you see a brand new hull. So the Titanic's bow is literally being held together by the fact that it's deep into the mud. And we all have different views. I think the Titanic, the main hull and those main pieces will be there for a long, long time.
Yeah, he was talking about how he's breaking the fucking rules and shit, like openly. All right.
How deep is the Titanic?
Let me.
I'm sure chat will tell you.
How deep is the Titanic, chat? I think what, 20,000?
13K.
13,000.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm getting the address.